As promised, we're back with the second part of the interview with praise and worship leader Andre Jordine, and we're going to delve deeper into what it means and what is required to be a praise and worship leader. So enjoy.
I think there's two aspects to leading, I suppose. One is kind of the practical side of things, were your instructions clear? Did you have you got a clear idea of where you're going, number one, and did you communicate that clearly to the people who are supposed to be following? And the evidence of that is, did they actually follow you?
Yeah.
I think there's a saying, I can't remember who it is actually, but it says basically, if you say you're a leader, but if there's no one following you, then you're just going for a walk. It's
quite lonely out there.
Yep, it's a lonely walk. But people following you is from a practical perspective is the evidence of whether you're leading well.
Yeah.
But I think because worship is for the Lord.
Yeah.
The aim of worship is the oneness,
Yeah.
is to bring people into communion, or to help people to come into oneness, both in terms of the horizontal, one with each other,
Yeah.
and one with the Lord.
Yeah.
The evidence of being effective then is are people connected to the Lord? Is the presence of the Lord here?
Yeah.
And the evidence of that is, are people being transformed? Is the Lord speaking? Is there, whether it be prophecy or healing or love or transformation? Is there reconciliation? Where's the fruit of the Spirit?
Yeah.
That's the evidence
of effective praise and
worship.
I do feel like sometimes though that praise and worship, to get to those places, sometimes it takes time. Like, you can have so much programs and so much stuff in place that it's like when you're just about to reach that thing, boom, next, and then that moment is gone. And there's so many times that I've sensed it, like we're almost about to break the ceiling, and then we've moved on, and I've just wanted to cry because I'm like, you just missed out on something. This is more worth more than gold. Like, you can't get something more powerful, more groundbreaking than seeing the transformation of people in that space. But I think that most people, the people that really do understand worship, are the worshippers. Anyone beyond that, unfortunately, people who facilitate most of the time or host worship tend to kind of get frustrated because they don't get to that. What advice would you give to someone who's at a church and they feel like, you know what, like every time we almost get to that place, I'm like opening up and then it's gone. What support what advice would you give to people like that?
I think with everything there's balance. I know there is. I know that there are places where there is a mindset that worship is the warm up for something else.
Yeah.
Well, the truth of the matter is that most of the things in our service, that time of worship or praise and sung worship, and the space that's created around it, are those times. Perhaps that's 90% of the time that is solely for the Lord.
Yeah.
Most of the other things that we do, including the word, are
for us,
for
the
us.
body. Yeah.
But the worship is purely for Him.
Yeah.
So there is a tendency, perhaps, to minimize what we offer.
Yeah.
And that's that can be true in a number of places. But at the same time, I think there's also on the other side, there is sometimes we carry the perspective that that things can only be broken through the song worship.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is that everything that we do, you know, that is an expression of our impression of God in our life, is worship. So I think we can be discouraged sometimes, and I learnt this as I don't remember how long ago it was. I learnt this as a worship leader, thinking like, boy, you know, that didn't go so great, man. People just, it's the atmosphere in here is still kind of, you know, it's a bit. And then Daddy Ricketts came along and he laid down one piece of prayer, and it transformed the atmosphere. And it's not everything working together. Does what the Lord needs to do. And maybe the Lord was just showing me something on that particular day.
Well, I think
it's not about you, God, but
sometimes people are carrying, and they're carrying in a different way. So I might be carrying, what I'm carrying is praise and worship. Someone else might be carrying a prophetic prayer. Precisely. That will hit someone in a way that the worship just couldn't at that particular time. But I can understand when, you know, you're expecting worship to be a certain way, or you want to go because you've experienced something in that space. I think one of my suggestions would also be to kind of find worship events. There's loads of worship events that are on that it's just solely for worship. My church does a encounter evening. The church that I used to go to does praise evenings, and it's literally just worship. And I think I went to Freedom
worship.
So there's loads of things out there that you can go to.
It is important to, I think, as a worship leader, it's important to take yourself outside of your own context and put yourself in different environments, and sometimes actually to just join with people of like mind. There is nothing like the gathering of people who have the same passion with them, and, you know, all together in one room and in one accord. Something very different happens in that environment. There are loads of events that I would encourage. David's Tent, Kingdom Worship Movement, the Renewal, Eastbourne, Mission Worship, where you're, all of these events where you're nourished, but also nourished in the Word, in a perspective about because I find that in a lot of churches, in terms of the music minister or worship pastor or creative arts minister, whatever they're called in that environment, I say a lot of churches, a number of churches, let me not lay landmines over the whole body, but
no pressure.
a number of churches that the music minister or the person who leads the team doesn't see their role as a pastoral one. And they don't necessarily have a vision for the development and discipleship of worship leaders. Their perspective is purely about the next Sunday. And okay, what songs are we going to sing? So I think for the person who's leading on the Sunday, it's about the journey on the Sunday, but the person who's leading the team, it's about the journey of the worship leaders. How do I generate, or how do I help to develop this person to become a world changer, not just on the Sunday, but actually week after week, and what is the vision and impact to develop the next generation